Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over Sword and Shield sealed investments and booster boxes and just sealed stuff in general that you should be looking into, because right now a lot of the market is really hyper focused on Scarlet and Violet. You know, obviously 151 doing absolutely insane, prismatic still holding up above MSRP. A lot of the early SV boxes have moved. A lot of the newer SV boxes are still above MSRP, so everyone is kind of, you can tell that the FOMO and the hype is definitely there, but that means it is the perfect time to go back an era and pick up Sword and Shield. Now you might think, why would I buy a Sword and Shield booster box for multiple times Scarlet and Violet booster boxes? It's cheaper to buy Scarlet and Violet, right? If I'm going to hold for the long term, it doesn't matter. Well, guys, when you are investing, and if you're trying to make your money grow, it depends on the time frame that you're holding for, right? So if you're holding for 10 years and you know for sure you are going to hold this box for 10 years, then by all means, go ahead and buy Scarlet and Violet. It doesn't really matter. But if you're going to hold for maybe 3 years and maybe you want to sell that box to move it into some newer boxes, maybe you have some freedom so you can move the money around, it's best to keep your investments in places that you know are going to grow at a faster rate, right? And usually you want to do it for the best stuff. So right now, let's look at the best-selling Sword and Shield stuff. This stuff is not getting reprints. There is no chance that there's any volatility. Guys, we just got the Paldean Evolved reprints confirmed recently. Today, I went out and found a 151 ETB stocked in a vending machine. They could reprint 151 ETBs by the end of this year. They could reprint Paldean Fates ETBs by the end of this year. Those are some of the best investments long-term. But right now might not be the best time to buy into them because they are reaching all new highs and have a lot of volatility. If people see that there's a huge dump of 151 ETBs and the price crashes, you're going to be caught holding the bag if you bought at 270 or 300, right? I would much rather be putting my money into sets I know 100% are not going to get reprints. Speaking of which, let's start with Evolving Skies. I get a lot of comments, people asking me if Evolving Skies is still a good buy. Yeah, I think it is. I don't think there's a world where Evolving Skies isn't a bad buy as long as it's below Team Up. And the reason I say that is because, you know, Team Up is one of the best sets from Sun and Moon, and the boxes have recently reached 10K. Now, Evolving Skies was printed more than Team Up, but in terms of set value, they are very, very similar. And so to me, that kind of tells me, okay, Evolving Skies is the best set of Sword and Shield. Team Up is the best set of Sun and Moon. I feel like they're going to track pretty similarly, right? So I think Evolving Skies, really, really good, you know, to put your money into a booster box if you can. That's going to have the best ROI, obviously. But if you don't have the money, I think the ETBs are also a great option. As you can see, the ETBs here. So I would be prioritizing getting Evolving Skies in your portfolio. If you have none, get some exposure at the very least. If you don't have the money for ETBs, I mean, it's unfortunate, but maybe try buying some art sets of the sleeved boosters. Let's see. That's the unfortunate thing. You are gonna have to pay a little extra to enter into the Evolving Skies game. And you guys know I'm a fan of, you know, PCTBs for Evolving Skies. You'll see that it says the market price is 586. I can confirm that is just not the case. The price is well over 700 at this point. If you check eBay's last sold, if you're looking, look, the lowest sale price in the last 3 months is 699. Yeah, it is not 500. I don't know why TCG Player is taking a while to update its market price, but this is easily $700 right now. I still think it's a good buy. But you know I'm very bullish on PCTBs. Check out my channel if you want to see why. But anyway, let's move on to some other sets. I think Evolving Skies is the first best set of Sword and Shield, but what is the second best set? I do think Crown Zenith is the second best set of Sword and Shield era. You have one of the deepest sets ever. I mean, I've glazed it. Guys, ETBs, in my opinion, at 175 are still undervalued. You might think I'm crazy for saying that, but genuinely, I think Crown Zenith is probably one of the best sets ever created, not even within the Sword and Shield era, but just in general. Like you have evolutions, you have a Mewtwo card, you have you know, the Galarian Gods, Arceus, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina. I don't know what else you could ask for in a single set. Bundles are around $100. These God, I think I bought these for 60 just recently. It felt pretty recent. I felt like a month ago or something, right? No, okay, like 2 or 3 months ago. Yeah, but these have seen absolutely insane growth. They were still getting reprinted into, December especially, and so you can see that there's a lot of sales volume because people are still finding Crown Zenith. But now that it's harder to find, guys, this price is going to keep soaring, and they're pretty easy to store, which is nice. Again, oh wow, it's already at 300. I recently bought a Crown Zenith PCTB to keep it sealed for my PCTB collection. I swear I bought it for 250, and yeah, it's already at 300. I think this is going to continue to be the best investment from Crown Zenith. PCTBs always do amazing. But yeah, Crown Zenith, another great investment. Fusion Strike is one I am really, really bullish on. It is my third favorite set from Sword and Shield. I think it's the third best set. And I have a personal anecdote with this box. So I recently went to a card show, and I traded in my, Gengar VMAX PSA 10 that I actually pulled myself and graded for an Evolving Skies box because, I thought that was a pretty good trade. It was plus 800 on top, so I was making a lot of money just from buying the Evolving Skies booster box. But my initial plan, actually, going into the card show was to buy a Fusion Strike. If you don't know, I was planning to trade that Gengar VMAX for a Fusion Strike box and a PSA 10 Espeon. But when I went to each vendor and I asked them, hey, do you have any Fusion Strike? They said, nope. Sold out within the first 2 hours. They, like, every vendor I'd went to, they were like, yeah, Fusion Strike was sold out. Fusion Strike was sold out. You could still find Lost. You could still find Brilliant. I could still find Crown Zenith. I could find Evolving everywhere. For some reason, Fusion Strike could not find this anywhere. Absolutely. I don't know why your chart is bugging, but guys, you can see Fusion Strike has had some absolutely insane gains, and I think that's for good reason. I mean, the top chases are really, really good. It has a very unique, pink booster box. People will tell you that this set sucked and everyone hated it, and that is true. It was sitting on store shelves for a long time. It was $80 at one point. I remember passing it up when I first got back into the hobby because I got in with Scarlet and Violet era. In terms of investing, right? I was always opening cards, but in terms of actually investing into it, I got into it in Scarlet and Violet. And so I looked at Fusion Strike and I said, well, nobody seems to really like it, so I'm not going to buy it. Not the case. Not the case. Sometimes you have to go with your gut if you think a set is good. And I'm still looking to pick one of these up. I just graded a bunch of cards recently. Check out my graded card video, and I'm probably going to trade those towards a Fusion Strike box if I can even find one at this point. Hopefully I can find one for around 700 is a price I'm looking for. But yeah, I think these are still an amazing buy. And if you aren't keen on spending 700 on a single booster box, I could recommend the PCTB for Fusion Strike. This is the regular one. Yeah, the PCTB is actually one of the best-selling items, above a lot of these other ETBs and packs. $350, and it looks amazing. Like, look at this background. What a cool looking PCTB. I think this is going to continue to grow into the future. And even just regular Fusion Strike ETBs, I think, are a decent pickup. Next thing to target, I think, would be Lost Origin. This one has the Giratina. Not a very deep set, but you still have a lot of good hits, like the Sleeping Pikachu, the Gengar, always the Giratina Aerodactyl. Really good hits. And I think the booster box is pretty undervalued at 500, honestly. Even when it, like, Lost Origin was one of the sets that came out kind of on the later end, and for the fact that it came out so late and is still so expensive is a little crazy to me. You can see Silver Tempest, came out extremely late and it's $360. Brilliant Stars came out much earlier than Lost. Yes, you can see, Brilliant Stars had a bit of time between when Lost Origin came out, and Lost Origin is still performing much better than Brilliant, performing much better than Chilling, than Battle Styles, right? So Lost Origin clearly is a super strong set. People love opening it. People love chasing that Giratina. It's a beautiful card, and I think it's a steal at 500. And this is coming from someone who bought it at like 260, right? Because I couldn't find it for cheaper back then. It was super expensive when I got back in, even. And so that kind of tells you the amount of love people have for Lost Origin. Brilliant Stars, I think, is extremely slept on right now, 400. Similarly to Astral Radiance, actually. Astral Radiance has been dipping quite a bit. I've been checking into my spreadsheets, and I think Astral Radiance is around 380. On my spreadsheets, it says it's down to 330. And that's going off like price charting, which includes a lot of, eBay last sold. Let's see what we can find on TCG Player. Looks like around 350 on TCG, 370. I might pick up another Astral. I think the set list is actually pretty undervalued. But yeah, Astral's great. The PCTB, I believe, is still pretty cheap if you're looking to pick that up. Let's see if we can find it. The Astral Radiance PCTB still only 130. Not a bad pickup at all. Same with the Brilliant Stars one. You can see, it's jumped up to 150. It used to be around the same price as the Astral Radiance. But yeah, it's a very cool looking ETB. I love it. Next, we have Silver Tempest booster boxes. These are 360, still on the same price as Paldea Evolved booster boxes, which kind of blows my mind a little. I'm not going to lie. A Lugia chase card is going to be one of the best chases of the Sword and Shield era, so definitely recommend picking up some Silver Tempest boxes right now. Even a case, I think, is actually a good pickup for if you can find it for 2K. That's not bad at all. That is not bad at all. Yeah, really, really good stuff for Silver Tempest. Chilling Reign is decent. I think you could probably pick up a box or two if you really wanted, but if I'm being honest, I think I'd rather buy a Brilliant Stars booster box. I think I'd rather buy Lost Origin than Chilling, just in my opinion. I mean, you have better chase cards in Brilliant, like you have a Charizard, you have Eevee trainer galleries. In Lost Origin, you have a Giratina. Chilling Reign does have a Blaziken, which is a popular Pokemon, but the art style's not great. And then the Galarian Moltres is the second best chase card, which looks cool, but it's just not on the same level, I think, as a lot of these alt arts. Like even Silver Tempest, I think I'd take over Chilling. But Chilling's not bad. It's not bad to have some exposure if you have none. I recently picked up PCTBs for Chilling Reign, the both of them as a set. I think that's going to be a good investment going forward. The Charizard UPC from Lost Origin era, I don't think it's only Lost Origin packs. I think you get some, just general Sword and Shield, TCG booster packs. I think you could get Evolving Skies in this. I'm not too sure. But the other cool thing is that you do get the Charizard promos, the one battling the Mewtwo, the sleeping one, and the Godzilla one. All cool promos, all really, really great. I think this UPC is going to do amazingly in the future. I think 330 is actually a pretty cheap price for what you're getting, the kind of value you're getting from this. And not to mention that the Charizard fighting the Mewtwo in a PSA 10 is insanely expensive because it has horrible quality control. Most of them are completely off-center. So I think it's actually a really, really good buy right now. Definitely be picking up this UPC if you can. And why am I so, heavy on Sword and Shield right now when it feels like everyone's focusing on Scarlet and Violet? Well, first off, I do like Sword and Violet. I definitely advocate for buying it, but if you guys have seen what Sun and Moon boxes have done recently, they have been soaring to the moon. And for me, that kind of solidifies, okay, I actually think Sun and Moon overall as an era was worse than Sword and Shield. I think Evolving Skies, Crown Zenith, Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, these top sets are better than Team Up, Unified Minds, Cosmic, etc. Like, I'm not saying those sets are bad by any means. I think those sets are amazing. But comparing the top sets of Sword and Shield to the top sets of Sun and Moon, feels like Sword and Shield is kind of better. And if we're seeing the prices that we're seeing for Sun and Moon, I mean, we're seeing 10K boxes for Team Up. We're seeing, 3.5K Cosmic Eclipse, I believe. We're seeing some absolutely insane prices for Sun and Moon. And obviously those are printed less, but in my eyes, the hobby has grown enough and people are still ripping these. We still have ripper and shippers going through tons of Sword and Shield product. These are going to be worth a ton of money in the next year. Mark my words, I think these are all going to have some absolutely insane moves within the next year, maybe in the next 2 years. And I think you're not going to get these kind of gains from Scarlet and Violet yet, especially if we're talking later era, Scarlet and Violet, when it really started heating up. I mean, we're talking Surging, Prismatic, Destined, right? Those are the ones that we think are going to be the big hitters. It's going to take a while for them to start really seeing big growth, just because they're going to keep getting reprints. It's going to naturally push the price down. So again, I always advocate for buying the best stuff at a time when they aren't going to go down, and they aren't going to be sitting around at a certain price point for long. If you truly want my favorite investments, again, I would prioritize Evolving Skies, Crown Zenith, and Fusion Strike, especially Evolving and Crown. I think those two sets easily like leagues above most other sets in almost every single era of Pokemon. these are going to be legendary sets that people look back on as like era defining. And so I would definitely be picking those up if you have none, especially if you have none. In terms of Scarlet and Violet, because I have been kind of comparing it a lot recently, I think 151 is still good for pickups, but don't be surprised if we see a lot more 151 reprints still hitting store shelves. I think we're going to keep getting 151 bundle reprints for sure. ETBs might get reprinted in the holiday season. That could definitely happen. That would definitely crash the price a bit. Maybe not down to MSRP, but probably down to like 200, because it's reached 300 recently, which is a little unsustainable in my eyes. Like an ETB getting that high that quickly, that is a little crazy. Like we're seeing Paldea Evolved reprints. Like we could be seeing Paldea Fates reprints. And if all of those sets get reprinted, it's not a great time to be buying into them right now as they're reaching their all-time highs. So yeah, Sword and Shield, guys, still on top. Do not sleep on Sword and Shield. I know a lot of people are overhyping, you know, Scarlet and Violet. Everyone's saying buy Prismatic, and I do not disagree with buying Prismatic. I think you should have some in your collection, even at the current market price. I think at 100, buy one box, buy two boxes maybe. Because it does seem like it's holding up its price very well, you know, despite all the reprints. But don't put the majority of your position down right now for Prismatic. Prismatic is not going to make you money in the next year. I'm sorry, but they are going to keep printing Prismatic for the next year. Like that is almost guaranteed in my head. Crown Zenith, that's not going to happen. Evolving Skies, that's not going to happen. Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, Brilliant. Your money would be better parked in those places in my eyes. But again, not financial advice. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Are you buying more Sword and Shield? Are you buying more Scarlet and Violet? Do you think people are kind of sleeping on Sword and Shield right now? What is the general consensus? Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.